in the film so far. Another amazing storytelling tool.
Multiverse spectacle.
A journey into the multiverse.
We're talking infinite impossibilities.
Mind-bending journey through the multiverse.
Who are you in this vast multiverse, Mr. Strange?
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is out, and boy has there been a hype for it. And I think deservedly so. I mean, the title alone, In the Multiverse of Madness, puts a whole lot of promisingly crazy pictures in your head, and the ad campaign made sure we're all aware of that. But now that the movie is out and everybody and their grandma are talking about the Illuminati, don't worry, we'll get to that, I've seen a lot of people being more critical about it than I think everybody anticipated before its release. So why is that? Well, on the one side, I could approach this like a classic movie review. Talk about the direction, acting, the script, the production, you know the drill. And I largely agree with the sentiment that I've seen so far. I think Raimi generally did a great job with directing this movie. His style of horror comedy might not work for everybody, but I didn't expect Marvel to let him do it here, so I think that's pretty cool. I also think that Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen do a great job with acting their way through multiple versions of their characters. And lastly, I had a good time with the story. I liked its focus on happiness and Strange challenging his own beliefs about the great calculus of the multiverse and how he needs to sometimes give up some control. I thought that was great. But instead of going over the whole movie broadly, I want to talk about one thing in particular that struck me. One thing that's kind of in the wheelhouse of this channel. Possibilities. See, out of all the things that Multiverse of Madness is, it's certainly the MCU's promise for possibility. And it's easy to see why. After 27 movies, including Endgame, which felt like a finale to a lot of people, Marvel wants to show that their universe has so much more to offer. And I think Doctor Strange is the perfect franchise to demonstrate that, with its exploration of the multiverse. I mean, on the one hand we have magic, and on the other we have all these universes with their own interpretations of characters and rules. Which brings us back to possibilities. So Multiverse of Madness was marketed as this absolute mindbender and embrace of the inherent weirdness that the concept brings. For all that, we actually only visited 3 places, and I'm not talking about all the ones we sort of fell through here, but you know, the ones that we've actually been to. So I don't know about you, but at the end of the day, I felt like it really wasn't all that much. Even from a point of different character versions. Sure, we got a few, and I largely enjoyed what they did with them. But if you've ever thought about the possibilities a multiverse brings, I think we can agree that there's still a lot out there that could have been used. But before we go any deeper and talk about how things could have played out, I want to illustrate the same point with the second concept in this movie, the one we're already familiar with: magic. So when the first Doctor Strange movie introduced sorcery into the MCU, I have to admit I was a little skeptical. Back then, the concept of magic, the way it was portrayed in the comics, I couldn't really see the MCU pulling off anything that cool in this direction. But boy was I wrong. The trippy visuals and effects they managed to utilize in the first movie blew my mind, and in combination with the martial arts based spellcasting, made for a great way to introduce magic into this universe. Fast forward a bit and we get to Infinity War and Doctor Strange's fight with Thanos. I really love how creative they got with him using so many cool tricks, some original, others already known but used in new and exciting ways. If you think about these fights, you can see how different they are from hand-to-hand combat or just guns. This is magic. We can get creative here. And since this movie also makes a distinction between Doctor Strange's sorcery and Wanda's witchcraft, video coming up soon, so be sure to subscribe. We can also take a look at WandaVision to see how her powers are distinctly portrayed as, but not limited to, telekinesis, mind control, and illusion casting. And so, again, we're making sure that we're staying away from just firing blasts at each other. And I feel like this one, in some places, dropped the ball here a bit, and we didn't really get the same level of ingenuity. Don't get me wrong, I think the concept of dreams being scenes from the multiverse and its extension with dream walking are really cool. And I also really liked Strange using his dad Variant to fight Wanda in his universe. The scene where Strange imprisons Wanda in the Kamar-Taj is another great example of magic that really worked for me, especially in combination with Wanda then using these reflections to break free. All that was great, except for the fight before. See, when Wanda attacks the Kamar-Taj, the fight starts off with this ominous big black cloud. All the sorcerers are gathered outside waiting for Wanda to strike down. She flies out of the clouds, and Strange tries to talk to her one last time. And then they fight with Wanda resorting back to shooting down magical blasts at the shields of the sorcerers. You could swap out Wanda for an Apache helicopter in this fight and you wouldn't even need magic here. Yes, she used her powers to create a weak spot in their defenses, but that was pretty much all we got here. I mean, she's got reality warping powers at this point that are so far advanced that early in the movie she convinces Strange that an apple tree's branch smells real when they're actually standing in a field that's completely dead. Why not use something like this to confuse all the sorcerers at Kamar-Taj? Have the cloud pass them and all of a sudden everybody thinks that they're alone. Strange could duplicate America a dozen times so that Wanda doesn't know which one to get. He could use the sling ring and try to teleport America or Wanda away, and we could have a little bit of fun with that. There are so many options. My point is that for this, granted comparatively short fight, I would have wished for a little bit more spectacle. Which brings us back to the movie's use of the multiverse. Okay, so as mentioned before, the concept of a multiverse itself comes with a ton of great opportunities. Different versions of known characters, different rules for how each universe works, different interpretations of events we're already familiar with, but now see under a new light due to small changes that separates this universe from the one we came from. You name it. In the multiverse, you can go nuts. And you can see how this movie actually attempts some of these ideas, but I fear never actually really committed to. Like, come on, we get, for example, a universe that's just paint. How awesome is that? In fact, there were a ton of cool new worlds to explore in the shot where Strange and America Chavez fell through the multiverse. And they also established that each of these worlds operate on their own set of rules. How cool would it have been if Strange's arc to besting Wanda would have involved some of these worlds and learning how to use them to his advantage? And it's not like they would have shied away from the creative challenge here. I mean, however you feel about the music fight, it sure as hell was a creative choice. I guess I just would have liked them to use the multiverse concept itself a bit better. Because if we're honest, 90% of the runtime is us following our heroes through places that if we wouldn't know were different from our universe, also couldn't tell. And I think we could have had a little more fun with that. I mean, picture a fight between Strange and Wanda, where America Chavez is fleeing from Wanda using her portals to other universes. Strange and Wanda follow her, and all the way through the fight we could visit and then see them fight in tons of different places. America could use this fight to realize that she does in fact have some control over her powers, and then could steer the battle through specific universes where she for example knows that she and Strange have the upper hand, because they've been there before and know how to navigate, for example either the paint, dino or lava world. At the end of the day though, I'm not mad at the movie. I guess I just would have liked to see the movie's creators, who've all proven to be able to master crazy ideas, to go a bit wilder with the concept. But as I said, I still had a ton of fun with the movie, and the multiverse stuff that we got, even if it fell a bit short in my view, was solid enough to have a good time. And I mean, it's not like this is the last time the multiverse is going to show up, so yeah, we can still get our weird-ass paint fight.
You suck.
Oh yeah, and speaking of things that I did like about the multiverse part of the movie, the Illuminati. Okay, the whole sequence was a bit short, and to be honest, it was surreal to see how easily Wanda teared through all of them. Blackagar Boltagon's death was my personal favorite here, although I would have appreciated it if we would have gotten a little bit more of him beforehand. But I guess they wanted to show us how powerful and dangerous and unhinged Wanda can be. So I respect the choice, but since Marvel is clearly not done with the character, I can see how Wanda fans might have preferred it if the whole downfall arc would have happened to a different version of Wanda. Our Wanda could have then learned how truly dangerous the path of the Darkhold really is, and could have then also helped defeating this rogue variant of hers. This way we could still have kept our Wanda in our universe. In a movie that would have had them interacting with more variants in general, I don't know, I think it could have worked. Oh yeah, and on a final note, I really appreciated how they portrayed Professor X's powers. That was a really cool nod there. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much everything that happened, right? Cool. Oh, of course. Holy shit, is that John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic? What is going on? Whew, sorry, lost my cool there for a second. Pretty sweet casting though. Man, for real, I'm so excited for the Fantastic Four, it's gonna be awesome. Just be sure to give us a little bit more of him next time before turning him into spaghetti. But what do you guys think? Would you have liked to get some more multiversal action? How would you like to see Wanda's story continue? Cause we know it ain't over yet, right? Leave us your thoughts in the comments down below and subscribe so you can join us next time when we explore the canon of your favorite cosmic. Goodbye.